Your new album, which is not coming out for another 2 months, Seekers and Finders. I've had a listen to it, and it's another great album.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Can you tell me in what way, if any, how you approached doing this album? I know that you did the production yourself, didn't you?
Yes, I did produce it myself, and it started actually about 2 years ago. Started with a batch of songs with this working title, Gypsy Christ Superstar. They just sort of had this like a musical thread going through that. Not a jolly musical, but kind of a angry, painful musical. And then, of course, that whole Gypsy Christ Superstar thing rubbed off and gone away. The humor of that was forgotten. I just felt like I have to get behind the wheel on this album, really, and let it be what it needs to be from beginning to the end, you know?
Yeah.
I always loved collaborating with producers, and we really had tremendous blessings in our path, you know, with amazing producers all along the way, starting with, you know, first album with Jim Sklavounos from the Bad Seeds.
Yeah. And
going, you know, with Albini and making a great record with him, and doing stuff with Victor Van Voogd, and then Rick Rubin, you know, Andrew Sheps. So all these names, you know, they all had an impact on all these albums. But also, it was just a matter of time before I gathered all the science and get behind the wheel myself. It was an incredibly exhausting experience, actually. However, what I really enjoyed about it is going all the way back to that feeling of when you're just making your first recording ever. It's not even an album. It's like, you know, some drum track. And you're like laying the guitar over it, and you hear your voice over it for the first time. And you think it's magic, and you think it's the most important thing in the world. And just going back to that frequency really was all about. There's nothing more important than that feeling.
Are you playing some of the songs on the tour at the moment?
Many.
Yeah.
Almost most of them. Of course, people demand, you know, the classics. So
it's a mixed
set, but it's really enjoyable.
Can you tell me a bit about Saboteur Blues? Well, from what I understand, it's having a little bit of a pop at René Descartes and his "I think therefore I am" famous quote.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of questions that whole West European mentality of that springs out of that. I think therefore I am, and just the whole. I mean, kind of Western civilization kind of ran wild with that notion. It's a quite dubious notion.
So just finally, obviously, I love the fact that Gogol. I didn't know this, but obviously Gogol comes from the Ukrainian writer, and it was sort of based on the idea of smuggling Ukrainian culture into Russian society. And that's kind of what you do with your music, isn't it? You smuggle a little bit of the Eastern European sound into Western music.
In the beginning, we were obsessed with that idea, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, we were a group of immigrants from all over. The core of the band is always Eastern European. You know, it's actually expanded now. We have 4 Eastern European guys in the band. That idea was like initial driving force. You know, here we are. People in diaspora who were strongly brought up on our own roots, but also with one foot in subculture from New York and Berlin and London, and you know, and Birthday Party and Sturz in the Neubauten and Joy Division and all of that. We were immersed in that, you know.
Yeah.
And here we are finding ourselves in New York City and start feeling this incredible. Now that our New York City glass is full, we're starting to feel this incredible nostalgia for this Eastern European way of celebration and just creating this kind of a soulful chaos that is like so home to us. So the idea kind of was like to smuggle this emotional message into like this very, very compartmentalized music industry, you know, was very big driving force. Yeah, and as a consequence of that, we're like kicked out from every club in New York City. Like within the first year, there was no place. We had to start playing art galleries because by like 2002, like no club would book us.
Yeah.
Everything was too much to handle. Every show was like a Dadaist happening. So it kind of gave them a run for their fucking life.